Sometimes, in the comfort of ordinary life, a silence breaks through. The kind where you hear only one sound, a crack, like something inside you is breaking, not loudly, but permanently. He loved her, trusted her, built a future, believing he was happy. And she wasn't dressing for him. She wasn't getting ready to see her husband. Every "I love you" turned out not to be a vow, but a performance. He didn't scream. He didn't destroy everything in a fit of rage. He turned on the cameras. He waited. He watched. And when the truth became unbearably clear, he didn't rush into revenge. He built it, step by step, with precision, cold blood, and haunting beauty. Betrayal became his fuel, pain, his compass. And one day, when everything had fallen into place, came a moment that can never be forgotten. A moment where not just a marriage crumbles, but a man's former self too. This isn't about jealousy. It's about a truth that cuts like a knife, and how far someone can go when everything is taken from him, except his resolve. Hello, my friend. I'm so glad you stopped by my channel. If it's your first time here, don't forget to subscribe and like this video, as every like truly inspires me. Please tell me which city and country you watch this video from. Now, let's get started. Nothing cut deeper than watching her get ready that evening. She slipped into delicate undergarments and smooth stockings, layering on makeup with the kind of care only routine and intention can create. Her hair was styled immaculately, and when she stepped out in a form-fitting dress I'd never seen before, paired with heels that seemed to lengthen her stride and change her posture, she looked like a stranger. A wave of emotion crashed over me, bitterness, envy, and an overwhelming sense of betrayal. She wasn't dressing up for me. No, this was all for Miles Donovan, her employer. While I spent my days working tirelessly to build us a stable life, she was turning herself into a fantasy for another man. I couldn't understand it. Until recently, our relationship had felt solid. Jenna had always seemed loving and faithful. Never once had she given me a reason to suspect her devotion. We'd spent 20 years together, and the idea of betrayal had never once entered my mind, until a few weeks ago. It started at her company's annual dinner. Miles, the firm's managing partner, was far too engaged with Jenna. The way his eyes lingered on her, the way his smile curled when they danced, it unsettled something deep inside me. And the way he looked at me afterward, wearing a smirk like he'd claimed something of mine, made my stomach knot. I brought it up the next morning. Jenna dismissed it instantly, defending him like I'd just insulted someone sacred. Her reaction didn't soothe me. It only made things worse. Suddenly, all those late office nights, the canceled plans and vague explanations started painting a different picture. I couldn't ignore the alarm bells anymore. Jenna wasn't just any employee. She was his personal assistant. Miles Donovan was everything I never wanted to be. Loud, arrogant, always flaunting his money, sports cars, luxury watches, and a new wife who looked more like his daughter than a partner. He'd left his longtime spouse for a glamorous 30-year-old named Sienna. He'd always rubbed me the wrong way, but the night he mocked me in front of Jenna and our friends, that was the moment the resentment cemented itself. "So, Julian," he said with that infuriating smirk, "still messing around with nuts and bolts? Must be a real thrill working at Home Depot." Jenna laughed. That sound hurt more than his jab. Sure, my job wasn't glamorous, but I brought in over 200 grand a year. Our home was paid off. Our daughter went to college without a cent of debt. But in Miles's world, none of that mattered. Status meant flash, not substance. I walked out, seething. Jenna came after me, asking what was wrong. When I told her, she brushed it off with a soft voice. "Oh, baby, don't be like that. He's just joking around. You know how he is. He doesn't mean anything by it." I stayed. I wanted to believe her. But looking back now, I should have trusted that gnawing feeling. The clues were there. Men like Miles don't stop hunting, not when they've set their sights. Something told me Jenna was next. I wasn't going to sit on my hands and hope for the best. Within a few days, I put a plan together. I ordered professional-grade surveillance gear, 6 audio transmitters, 5 high-definition cameras. One of the cameras went into the smoke detector above our bed. Others were hidden throughout the house, strategically placed to give me full visual coverage. I planted more devices in the bathroom and living room. All feeds streamed to a secure hub in the attic that I could monitor from my phone. I even hid mics in her handbags, her car, and beside the landline in the kitchen. By the time I was finished, I had access to nearly every word she spoke and every move she made inside our home. Still, as I packed for my upcoming work trip, something didn't sit right in my gut. Jenna, as always, was affectionate. The night before I left, she made love to me with tenderness, whispering soft promises into my skin. Her eyes shimmered with emotion. "I love you more than anything," she said, fingertips tracing the lines of my face. "You're everything to me." And I said it back, meaning it, needing to believe it. That night felt real. There was warmth between us I had never doubted before. I hesitated, wondering if I was overreacting. Maybe I should tear down the setup. Maybe I was just imagining things. But I didn't. I left it all running and headed off for my 2-night trip. If anything was happening, this would be the window. We kissed goodbye. By evening, I was driving down the highway, a quiet 3-hour trip that left me alone with my thoughts. I replayed the past 6 months, searching every memory for signs I might have missed. Other than Miles's cocky behavior and my own rising suspicion, I didn't have much. I let out a bitter laugh. Maybe I was spiraling. Once I checked into the hotel, I dropped my bag on the bed and powered up my laptop. After sorting through a few work emails, I pulled up the live feed from the house. I didn't expect to see anything, just wanted to test the setup. I fast-forwarded a few hours, slowing the footage as Jenna entered our bedroom. She lay across the bed, phone to her ear. At first I was just watching her, appreciating her beauty. Then the words came, and everything unraveled. "Hey baby." "He's gone," she said, her tone soft, playful. "I've got the place to myself. Yeah, 2 full nights this time." She paused and let out a quiet giggle. "When can you come over? Will your wife notice? Oh my God, this is perfect. Can you stay the night?" "I want to wake up next to you. Of course I'm yours. What time?" "Okay. I can't wait." "I love you, baby." I stood frozen. Just an hour earlier, we had shared what I thought was one of the most passionate, intimate nights of our relationship. Those very words, "I love you," she had whispered over and over, like a promise. Now, I watched as she welcomed him into my home, into our bed. Who was this person I thought I loved? How could she look me in the eyes, swear she loved me, then betray me with such ease? Was he really coming over? I didn't have to wonder long. In the hour that followed, I watched Jenna get ready for him. She showered first, then she slipped into lingerie meant to provoke, not please. She curled her hair, applied makeup with care, and completed the look with a pair of heels, something she never wore for me. It felt like watching someone commit a crime in slow motion, and though every second cut deep, I couldn't tear my eyes away. I'd always known she had a sensual side, but seeing her bring it to life, so confidently, for someone else, was soul-crushing. A small part of me hoped he might not show. That hope shattered the moment the doorbell rang. Jenna opened the door, and there he was, Miles Donovan, grinning like he already owned the place. The camera caught it all, the way he pulled her in, the kiss he gave her like she belonged to him. I barely made it to the bathroom before my stomach gave out. "Damn, baby," Miles said, eyeing her up and down. "You look unreal. I can't wait to tear that off and keep you all night." I clenched my fists so hard they trembled. But what hurt most wasn't his words, it was what came next. Jenna beamed, took his hand, and led him straight into the bedroom we once called ours. I sat there, paralyzed, watching her undress him, revealing a chiseled body straight out of a fitness magazine. Rage, heartbreak, and disbelief churned in my chest. I hated him with everything I had, but even I couldn't deny he looked like something out of a fantasy. It made me sick all over again. I wanted to shut off the video, walk away, scream, do something. But I didn't. I stayed. For the next hour, I listened to every sound, every moan, every betrayal whispered between them. Then, afterward, they talked. Lying together, tangled in the sheets, Miles broke the silence. "So he's really out of town for 2 nights?" Jenna let out a relaxed breath. "Yeah, just the 2 of us. I've been dying to fall asleep next to you." Miles smiled softly. "I love this," he said. "Being with you." She nodded. "I love it too." He chuckled quietly. "Can't wait to have you all to myself while your husband's off busting his ass." Guy's got no idea. Jenna smirked, nudging him. "Be nice. He's a good man. I do love him." Miles raised an eyebrow. "Then why are you here? With me?" There was a pause. Then she spoke. "Because you're the most attractive man I've ever known, and the way you make me feel, the chemistry, it's overwhelming." She hesitated before adding, "We're both married. But somehow, this feels right, doesn't it?" Miles exhaled slowly. "You set me on fire in ways no one ever has. Not my wife, not anyone. You make me feel alive, Jenna." His words pierced deeper than anything else. That kind of connection, that kind of love, it was supposed to be mine. But it wasn't. Not anymore. I watched them kiss again, wrap themselves in stolen intimacy, whispering more lies to each other like they were the only 2 people in the world. Then he asked the question that finally broke me. "Does he satisfy you like I do?" Jenna was quiet for a moment. Then she said it. "He's an incredible lover. But no, not like you. What you do to me, I can't even describe it." That was it, the breaking point. I stared at the screen, heart pounding, hands trembling. Pain and fury surged through me like a tidal wave. I slammed the laptop shut, unable to take one more second. Hours passed, and I lay in bed wide awake, the weight of betrayal and heartbreak pressing down on me like a boulder. One truth had never been clearer. This wasn't going to end peacefully, and I wasn't going to be the only one left bleeding. When I finally returned home, everything looked just as I had left it. The house still radiated warmth and comfort, hiding the rot beneath. Jenna welcomed me with kisses, soft words, and that same familiar smile, as if nothing had happened, as if she wasn't tearing me apart inside, but nothing felt the same. Where there had once been love, now there was only disgust. Her touch made my skin crawl. Her lips felt cold. Still, I played along. I smiled. I embraced her. I pretended. Behind the mask, I was meticulous. Every clip, every audio file, I backed them all up. Multiple cloud accounts, encrypted, locked down tight. I wasn't just heartbroken, I was calculating. Over the next 2 weeks, I orchestrated every moment of our lives. I planned our time down to the minute. She had no space to breathe, let alone sneak away. I watched her closely while wearing the face of a doting husband. She started to squirm. I could see her growing agitated. Then one morning, as she drove to work, I caught the call. "When's he going out of town again?" a man's voice asked. "I'm not sure," she answered, "but I'll find out. It has to be soon, babe." That was all I needed to hear. Everything I suspected, everything I knew, was now confirmed. I had mapped out a fresh trip, short and strategic, just enough to gauge whether he'd fall into the same trap. Everything was lining up exactly as intended. That evening, as we curled up together on the couch, lost in a movie, Jenna turned to me with a casual air and asked, "Hey love, when's your next work trip?" A sharp pulse surged through my chest, but I kept my demeanor breezy, letting a playful smirk curl across my face. "Trying to enjoy a little peace while I'm away?" I teased. "Or maybe there's someone you only entertain when I'm not around?" I added with a chuckle, my eyes locked on hers, searching for the slightest crack. But she didn't even blink. "Come on, don't be ridiculous. I love having you here," she said, her voice soft. "I just hope you won't be leaving again soon." "Sadly, work's calling," I replied with a nonchalant shrug. "I've got an overnight meeting Tuesday. I'll be back the next day." She sighed theatrically and pouted. "I hate when you're gone. I miss you like mad." She slipped into my lap then, arms draping around my neck, her lips pressing into mine in a kiss that felt too perfect, too rehearsed. She kissed me like I was her everything, but I knew that same tenderness belonged to someone else too. It took every ounce of restraint not to shove her away. Instead, I stayed in character. The plan was nearly ready. Tuesday rolled around. I packed my things and gave her a goodbye kiss, fully aware it would be the last time we shared such intimacy. Our final night, our last embrace. She kissed me just like always, but for a split second, I wondered if she saw past the smile. Did she catch the sorrow hiding in my eyes? Something shifted in her face, barely noticeable, but if she suspected anything, she kept it to herself. Instead of hitting the highway, I steered straight toward the office. Staying late was routine for me, so my presence there didn't raise any red flags. At precisely 7:30 p.m., my hidden camera sent the alert. Miles had arrived. He strolled into my house like he owned the place, wrapped his arms around my wife, and kissed her as if she belonged to him. Showtime. I silenced the live feed, locked my phone in the drawer, no tracking, no trail. Quietly, I left the building, retrieved the compact electric bike from my trunk, and rolled out. It was built for stealth, fast, quiet, efficient, 30 miles per hour, 50 miles of range. I'd be a ghost on the road. With my hood pulled low, eyes scanning every alley and turn, I made my way back. 20 minutes later, I was in the backyard, slipping through the sliding glass door she hadn't even bothered to lock. Inside, every breath was heavy, ears attuned to the slightest sound. I could hear them upstairs. From the closet, I grabbed the aluminum bat I'd hidden earlier in the week. Then I reached behind the bedroom doorway, where a short-barreled rifle lay waiting, my insurance policy. Clutching the bat, I crept toward the bedroom. They were lost in their illusion, completely unaware. Candlelight flickered across the walls as I stepped into their moment. Jenna didn't even notice the shift in the air. Miles never saw the strike coming. The bat hit hard, sending him sprawling with a sickening thud. I dropped it and reached for the rifle, flipping on the lights. Jenna shrieked, stumbling backward, her skin drained of color. "Oh my God, this isn't happening. You were supposed to be gone." I kept my tone calm, flat. "Better question, what the hell is he doing in my bed?" Miles groaned, dazed, one hand cradling his head. He pushed himself up against the wall, blinking, panic dawning in his eyes. "Jesus, that hurt," he muttered. "What's wrong with you, man?" he barked. "You want to talk about wrong?" I snapped. "You sneak into my house, sleep with my wife, and now you want to play innocent?" His gaze flicked to the weapon, his throat tightening visibly. "What are you going to do?" he asked, voice trembling. I tilted my head, a cruel grin tugging at my lips. "Not feeling so tough now, are you?" Jenna was frozen in place, her mind clearly scrambling to catch up. Miles's breath came faster, every muscle tense. He was fully awake now. "I know everything," I said. "Every phone call, every sneaky little meeting, every time you thought I was too busy to catch on. And now you face the music." Miles's voice cracked. "If you do something stupid, you'll go to prison." I laughed coldly. "Then maybe we'll all go together. Sound fair?" Watching fear flicker through his eyes was almost satisfying. Jenna broke down, sobbing uncontrollably. "Please, don't do this." "Why not?" I shot back. "You didn't seem concerned about consequences before. Why should I care now?" The truth? I had no intention of taking their lives, but they didn't need to know that. seeing them crumble beneath the weight of their betrayal, the fear, the guilt, the shame. That was the first moment in weeks I felt anything close to control. For once, the power was mine. Jenna wept without restraint, cocooned in blankets as though the layers might shield her from the truth crashing down around her. Her voice trembled, raw with fear. "Please, don't do this. I love you, I swear I do. Let's just talk. Just talk. Put that down. Please." I angled the rifle toward her, a smirk tugging at the corner of my lips, ice cold. "Save it. This is the drama you've been dying for, isn't it? Something wild to break the monotony of your boring little marriage. Whatever happens next, you brought it here." The weight of what was unfolding hung in the air, undeniable. They could see in my face just how far past the point of no return we were. Their only chance was talking me down. What they hadn't guessed was that I'd never planned on killing anyone. The rifle wasn't loaded with bullets. It was rigged with a brutal cocktail, part rock salt, the rest military-grade pepper extract, capsaicin concentrate. Not fatal, but the kind of agony no one forgets. I wasn't aiming for prison. I wanted scars of memory, not bodies. Miles, still dazed from the earlier blow, tried to rise, shaky and slow. I was already anticipating it. The second he lunged, leaving himself exposed, I fired. The blast cracked through the room, but his screams dwarfed the sound. He collapsed immediately, writhing, clawing at his face, gasping as though suffocating on fire. Pain overwhelmed him, raw and primal. Minutes crawled by before he could even sit upright, shuddering and clutching his sides. I stepped in, tapped his leg with my boot, and turned to Jenna. "Pay attention," I said. "Here's what's going to happen. I'll be gone in a few minutes. You're going to get him to a hospital, on your own. No 911, no cops. And when the doctors start pressing for details, you play dumb. Got it? Make up whatever lie you want, but leave me out of it. If either of you so much as mentions me, if my name even floats near the story, I release everything. Every message, every recording, every frame of footage. His wife will get a copy delivered personally. His firm's senior partners, too. And just to sweeten the deal, I built a site. 2 hours of your sleazy motel rendezvous will stream on loop. I stay invisible. Understood? Oh, and Miles? Don't even think about firing her. She's going to need that paycheck when she's signing divorce papers. If either of you gets clever, or if she refuses to sign, everything I've got goes public. That clear enough for you?" They didn't say a word. Jenna's face was drained of all color, streaked with tears. Miles barely moved, his breath ragged from the burn. "Good," I muttered. "Now go get him stitched up." I left without looking back, relocking the door behind me. The rifle and bat were tucked in the duffel slung across my shoulder. The night swallowed me as I stepped outside. At the river, I dumped the rifle first, then the bat, each at a different spot. The gloves came off last, discarded far apart. Back at the office, I loaded the motorcycle into the back of my SUV, then walked in like I'd never left. At 9 sharp, I chatted briefly with a couple of IT guys still pulling a late shift. As far as they were concerned, I'd been there the entire evening. If anything ever came up, it'd be my word against theirs. No evidence, no witnesses. Miles was rushed into surgery. The gash on his head ran 18 centimeters. They had to shave part of his scalp to close it. He was diagnosed with a concussion. His official report said he was just dropping off paperwork at Jenna's place and couldn't remember anything after that. Claimed he didn't see who hit him. He understood what silence cost, and what talking would cost even more. Jenna kept her story tight too. Said she heard a loud noise, stepped outside, and found Miles lying there, bleeding. She claimed she drove him to the hospital herself, afraid waiting for an ambulance might be too late. Neither explained why Miles had no clothes on, but they stuck to their version. Too bad for Miles. His wife didn't buy a single word. Whatever fallout was coming for him, it made my part look like mercy. By the next day, I'd wiped the place clean. Every bug, every hidden lens, gone. The recordings were all safely backed up to an encrypted cloud. The devices themselves were destroyed beyond recognition. Nothing left to find, nothing to follow. By 6 that evening, Jenna came through the front door. I was already there, sitting in the living room with a half-drunk bottle of whiskey on the table. She looked like a ghost, eyes red and swollen, her posture defeated. I'd never seen her look so broken. For a split second, pity flickered. Then she spoke. "Julian," she whispered, her voice cracked and barely holding. "I know what you saw was terrible, but it wasn't what it looked like. I wasn't in love with him." Her voice wavered. She stared into my eyes like she could will me to understand. "I know what I said hurt you. I know how it must have sounded. But you know me. After being close, I need that emotional connection. What I said, it wasn't real." Fresh tears spilled down her cheeks. "You were gone so much. I hated the silence. Miles, he was just there. He filled the space. And yeah, it got physical. But it wasn't love. It never meant anything. It was just comfort. Please, Julian, please believe me." I said nothing. She looked so raw, so desperate, and yet all I could hear was betrayal echoing behind every word. Her pleas felt like rehearsed lines, her sorrow like theater. I stared at her, stunned that she could still look me in the eye while twisting the knife. "Jenna," I began, my voice steady but edged with finality. "I've heard everything you've tried to explain. You claim those words of love were meant for me, but we both know that's a lie. They were his, not mine. This stops now. 20 years together, gone, destroyed by your choices, because you let him in. And now we're both left to face what's left behind. So, congratulations. You've carved a wound I'll carry for the rest of my life." Bitterness laced my words as I spoke. Her face crumpled, and the tears came. "What do we do now?" she asked, her voice barely a whisper. I didn't hesitate. "There is no we anymore. It's over. I'll never understand what made you do this, and I'll have to live without that answer. As for forgiveness, it's not even a possibility, but I'll keep my word. I won't say a word about your affair, not to Sabrina, not to your parents. That's yours to handle. But let me be clear, don't twist this around and paint me as the bad guy. If you try, I'll make sure the entire truth is known. The house goes up for sale this week. You'll have to find another place. You broke this. You're the one who's leaving. This isn't a negotiation. I'm telling you how it is. Let me know where to send the divorce paperwork. Sign it quietly, or both you and your lover will wish you had." She broke down then, sobbing into her hands. "He's not my boyfriend. I don't love him. Please, can't we come back from this? I've ruined everything. I know I've devastated you, but I still need you. I can't breathe without you. I'll do anything, anything, to fix this. Just don't walk away." I looked at her, already gone to me. If it had just been physical, maybe we could have worked through it. Counseling, a break, something. But that's not what happened. You gave him something sacred. You said things that were meant only for me. And in doing that, you tore us apart. You buried the love I had for you. It's gone, dead. No, I won't forgive. I won't forget. And once this divorce is finalized, you'll be out of my life for good." She cried for hours. By sunrise, her bags were packed, and she left. She moved back into her parents' house while we started the process of putting our home on the market. A few days later, the police came by, asking questions about Miles. I called a lawyer the second they showed up, and we shut it down fast. "My client has no statement unless you can provide evidence," my attorney told them. There was no proof, no charges, and my alibi was rock solid. They had to drop it. It went into the records as an attempted break-in. Jenna and her family wouldn't stop calling. They pleaded with me to reconsider. "She still loves you," they said. "It was one mistake. Please speak with her. Try counseling. Try something." I never answered. Let the phone ring each time. When they came to the door, I didn't open it. Eventually, I changed my number, cut off every connection. After that, I disappeared from their lives completely. Yes, the pain was immense. Each day without her was its own form of torment. But the image of her handing her heart to someone else, that pain never dulled. Jenna's life unraveled. At 42, she was alone in a small one-bedroom apartment, relying solely on her salary. The security she once depended on was gone. Worse, the truth eventually came out. Sabrina and her parents learned everything. They were furious, held her fully responsible. Her daughter saw her differently. Her parents, humiliated, carried the weight of quiet disappointment. Jenna had lost everything. And Miles? He vanished. At work, he avoided her as much as possible, only speaking when required. The consequences of their affair became a burden to him. Eventually, he removed her from his department. Though her pay stayed the same, her new role was a dull, administrative one. Her once respected position had been stripped away. Gossip followed her everywhere. People whispered. She became just another of Miles's short-lived flings, discarded and forgotten. The respect she once commanded vanished. With her career diminished, her marriage gone, her family distant, and no support left, Jenna fell into a deep depression. Night after night, she cried herself to sleep, consumed by guilt. Each morning only reminded her of what she'd destroyed. Sabrina tried to help. She offered kindness, a thread of hope, but the wounds were too deep. She watched her mother fall apart, barely eating, drinking too often, shrinking into someone unrecognizable. No matter how much Sabrina reached out, Jenna had stopped fighting. "Why bother?" she'd murmur. "Without Julian, none of it matters." In desperation, Sabrina reached out to me. She asked for guidance. I listened and told her I was truly sorry she had to witness her mother's decline. But I stayed firm. I would never forgive Jenna. I would never speak to her again. As for Miles, he wasn't thriving either. Sienna wasn't the forgiving type, and forgetting? Out of the question. The moment the truth surfaced, she flipped the script on him. Life under her roof became a slow, merciless punishment. He was exiled to a guest room, where he lived each day under her unrelenting control. Every mistake he made was catalogued and thrown back at him with surgical cruelty. She took full command of their dynamic, laying down new rules with no room for negotiation. Then came the parade of young lovers. One by one, they passed through, each more blatant than the last. She never left him, never even hinted at divorce. Instead, she let him witness it all, a front-row seat to her defiance. Staying married served a purpose. It polished his public image, and while he kept up appearances, footing every expense, Sienna thrived in her new independence. Miles still had his wealth, but the things that mattered most, trust, intimacy, connection, were gone. His betrayal had cost him dearly, more than he'd ever imagined. And though rage simmered beneath his surface, though he hated me with a depth I could feel, he was utterly helpless. It was too late. The war had ended, and I'd walked away the victor. That same year, I came terrifyingly close to dying. It started like any other night, just drinks with colleagues after work. But as I left the bar, things went south fast. A group of men closed in. No hesitation. They beat me like they were erasing a mistake. Fists, boots. It was brutal and calculated. If not for my co-workers who stepped in, I wouldn't be here now. By the time authorities arrived, the attackers had vanished into the night. I ended up in a hospital bed, ribs fractured, body stitched up, pain etched into every inch of me. 20 stitches, cracked bones, and a gut-level certainty about who was behind it. Miles. His hands weren't on me, but his signature was all over the act. I'd anticipated something like this, expected it even. So, when I finally recovered enough to move without wincing, I made a call. "Mr. Donovan, please," I told the woman who answered. "He's in a meeting at the moment. Would you like to leave a message?" "Yes. Tell him to meet me across the street at the French deli. Friday, 1 o'clock. Alone. I'm sorry, I don't think I can. Just write it down. Julian said so. He'll get it. When Friday came, I was already seated, tucked into a corner booth with a clear line of sight to the door. He arrived late. His face twisted the second he saw me. He paused, clearly weighing his options. But in the end, he approached. Sit, I said. He dragged the chair out and dropped into it, jaw tight, eyes full of fury. What do you want? I didn't react, just leaned forward, voice calm. I'm glad you came. Your guys gave it a good try, I'll give you that. But I'm still breathing, which means now it's my turn. I slid a folded note across the table. That's a web link. Don't bother trying to shut it down. It's hosted offshore, mirrored in multiple places. It's out of your reach. He opened it, brows knitting together. Watch it when you're back in your office, I told him. 2 full hours of footage. You're the headliner. Don't worry, I protected Jenna's identity. Her face is blurred. She's suffered enough because of this. This isn't about her. This is your mess to clean up. His fists clenched. You've already ruined me, he muttered. I'm not who I used to be. You've taken it all. That's why we're here, I replied evenly. To put a lid on it. You wrecked the best thing in my life. 20 years of marriage, obliterated. I walked away. And still, you came for me. Well, now it's my move. He stiffened. What do you want? 2 things, I said. And neither is up for debate. First, you stop. No more shadowing me, no threats, no reaching out to my family or Jenna. You kill whatever plans you've still got brewing. Second, you wire $1 million to this account by 9 p.m. Friday. Call it a settlement if you want. If I took this to court, we both know I'd walk away with more, so consider this a discount. His breath came out sharp, his chest rising with the weight of it. And if I go through with it? He asked. How do I know you won't post the video anyway? I held his gaze. You don't. You'll have to trust that I'm done, once you hold up your end. But hear this. If that money isn't there by the deadline, the site goes live. By Saturday, your wife, your kids, your clients, they'll all see the truth, every last second. You took everything from me, Miles, and if you walk away from this deal, I'll make sure you know exactly what it feels like to lose it all. That was the line. He crossed it. The funds showed up. The house went on the market. We divided what was left. Jenna walked away with enough to build a stable future. As long as she kept working, maybe found someone new. She stayed in her job, but things were never the same between her and Miles. Something between them had snapped, beyond repair. She never remarried, rarely even dated. The heartbreak lived in her bones, something she carried day to day. She never shook it. Time moved on, but the wound didn't heal. It deepened. She withdrew, little by little, until the bright, passionate woman I once knew became a shadow. Her laughter faded, her spirit dulled. What remained was a ghost, someone hollowed out by a love that had once meant everything. As she neared her 50th birthday, her health began to decline. The vibrant, confident woman I had once loved so fiercely had diminished into someone nearly unrecognizable. When the time came to scatter her ashes, it was only Sabrina who stood by, releasing them into the wind with quiet reverence. I remained at my job for a few more years before retreating into a slower, more peaceful life by the sea. Eventually, I remarried, a gentle-hearted woman with an easy laugh, someone who connected with me deeply, both emotionally and physically. She gave me nothing but tenderness, yet that all-consuming, singular kind of love never found its way back to me. That love had been Jenna, fierce, unforgettable, and ultimately ruinous. Through everything, Sabrina and I remained close. She became the last living link to that chapter of my life. We spoke every day, though she rarely mentioned her mother. Perhaps she understood, more than anyone else could, that the scars of the past had never truly healed. When word came of Jenna's death, it brought a strange mixture of mourning and release. It felt like the final page of a long-closed book had quietly turned, a sorrow I had carried far too long. And while I mourned the woman she once had been, I also felt something I hadn't expected, a quiet, long-awaited peace. This story has come to an end. What's your opinion? Share it in the comments, my friend. And if you like this story, check out other exciting videos on my channel. I'll say goodbye until the next video. See you.